Are we live? Do we have audio? Do we have video? Yes, we do. Welcome back, everybody, to another live stream repair. 1, 2, 3 HomePods today that need to get fixed up. So we're gonna jump right into it. Who's first? Let's grab a random box. We've got Barry from North Carolina. Let's find Barry's email and see what we're dealing with. Okay, Barry. Who wants to bet it's got, yep, no power. Yep. Let's shoot them a quick email and we'll open up their box and get started. Okay. This don't work. It's not working. Alright, that'll do. That's got some. There we go. Look at that shiny head. I love it. Ooh, return label included. That always makes things a little easier. Let's get that. There we go. Okay. First things first, we're going to grab a known good working power cable and plug this in, get an idea what we're dealing with. Just make sure that we weren't told one thing when we've got another. But yeah, no, this one definitely not doing anything for us other than pulling about 6 watts of power from the wall, which is what we normally see with these no power HomePods, especially when their diode on the amplifier fails, which is what normally happens. So we're gonna crack it open, see if we are right again, or if we finally got a funky surprise. Maybe one day we will finally come across a diode that breaks the the whole idea that we think 1746K and 1748K are the ones, but you tell me. That's how many. We're gonna do a you're excused, a live stream soon of just counting how many dead diodes we have here. Because I'm no longer replacing every diode regardless of the date code on it. We've done enough of these to know for sure now that we only need to worry about replacing that diode if it has one of those two known bad date codes on it. So that said, we will no longer, because we're not replacing every single diode in every single HomePod we get, we won't have the same physical, at least. We can write down what each date code we see is when we get inside of everyone's HomePods, but we've got them all physically here up to this point at least. So we'll count them. We'll see what the ratio is of total total HomePods sent in, what their issue was. Was it just no power, or was it something else? A lot of insight in this little tray. Hey Mike, welcome to the stream. And George, welcome, welcome. Yep, the tape roll got retired. The bottom, or the top basket of another HomePod happens to fit perfectly, and it gives us a little wider base, sits a little lower to the table, so it's a little more stable, easy to work with. Come on, get it. All right, got the smart stuff out. Now for the dumb stuff. Yeah, Mike knows what's coming up. Yeah, that's a crunchy one, all right. All right. see if we've got a stinky subwoofer. No reason to believe there's any issues with it. It's not typically related to power issues. But that doesn't go without saying it's entirely possible for them to have had issues with the bass speaker roasting leading up to them losing their power. But looks good, feels nice and smooth, smells fantastic, doesn't have any burnt electronics smell or essence to it, so that's a happy looking little subwoofer. Ooh. Let's get that power supply. And no, the problem with our power is not the power supply. It is with our amplifier here. And you might be thinking, well, if the problem's with the amplifier, and the power supply's here, and the logic board's over here, then why don't I see anything when I plug it in, if it's just the amplifier not working? Well, this cable is how the logic board talks to the amplifier, and how it gets its power. It gets its power through the amplifier board. The logic board doesn't have its own connection to the power supply. So when the amplifier goes down in such a fashion, it's going to take everything down the chain down with it. So if the amp can't turn on, the logic board can't turn on, and you get no power. And we're inside. Let's take a closer look at the problem area. And there we go. 1748K. If you've seen enough of these, you know what's gonna happen. Check and see if this diode is dead for kicks and giggles. Yes, it is. Dead, dead, dead. So we're going to turn on our heat, plug in the air quality meter so we know how much we're screwing our future selves here. Get started. into the graveyard. I was kind of hoping to hear enhancements to Siri at WWDC, like them making it like kind of smart, or like put some AI into it, so I could like ask my HomePod questions instead of just give it basic HomeKit commands. Like I know what questions I can ask it, but they're still. I'd rather just pull my phone out for a lot of that stuff, but sometimes it's nice to just, yo, blibbity boobity blah. And Siri's like, blah 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 blah. And you're like, oh, well, today I learned. And I found some web results. Check your iPhone. Ah, that's not why I asked you. I don't care if you have to read the first few Google results to me. I'm trying to be lazy. Okay. Oh, almost forgot the power supply. Oh, why isn't the powering on? It had a dead diode. It's not pulling power anymore. There we go. What do I think of the headset? Well, it's hard for me to feel strongly anyway about it. Other than, I guess I'm really excited to have an, like, if I ever get the opportunity to try it, let alone my hands on one to like take apart and have for myself. Spatial computing, huh? Seems like a pretty fancy word for augmented reality. Oh yeah, hey, look at that. We got it working again. It's powering up. I am thoroughly impressed at the amount of tech that they crammed into that thing. Ooh, and I like the fact that it will just run apps, like your normal iOS apps. So like from launch day, you can use a whole bunch of shit with it. We've got good power, we've got good bass, we've got a great DC offset result there. So this one's looking ready to finish putting together. With the $3,500 VR headset, I was really hoping to see Apple at least give its users or its potential customers more reason to buy more than 2 HomePods and put them in a room or in the same room. Like, can you imagine somebody that's spending $3,500 on the VR headset? Like, goes and spends another $1,000 to $2,000 on 6 to 10 HomePods and fills their living room up with it. That would be the absolute ultimate immersive experience until you're starting to really mess with like home audio. But like as far as an easy plug and play and get going like home theater or like just personal entertainment experience, it still blows my mind that they did not add any support for any kind of real surround sound. You're still stuck with left and right traditional stereo at best. As far as like actual surround sound audio, you've got Dolby Atmos, you've got spatial audio. Yeah, but that's not the same as like, that's more for ambient listening. That's not for like movie viewing, for example. People that are more hardcore into watching their movies on a big system, they want the sound not just to come from the left or the right. They want it to come from over here or over here. Like front or back, up or down, side to side, not just left or right. And with spatial audio, yeah, you get a bit of that up and down. You get a bit of that vertical space. Hi all, do you recommend to upgrade my HomePod to OS 16? The current OS on my HomePod is OS 15.3. My good sir, please update off of OS 15. Yes, I personally would recommend that you update your HomePod to the current version. OS 15 was known to have issues with loud popping and restarting. So, as far as I can tell, latency-wise, it's no better or worse than it was in 15 on 16. And I primarily use my HomePods with my Apple TV in the living room for multiple hours a day. When you guys say latency, are you talking literally about the time it takes for you to like click play on a movie and for the movie to load and start playing and for you to hear audio? Or are you talking about latency in terms of you're watching something and the like what somebody does on screen happens before or after you actually hear it? Which one are you guys talking about? I'm curious. Because the former isn't something that I've ever noticed an issue with between my iPhone, my Apple TV, my Mac, any of that stuff. The latter, That sounds like a problem. I haven't had any problems with that either, but that sounds like that sounds like a serious problem. Pretty sure your Apple TV has like a setting to configure the audio delay, if that is your problem. But typically when people say latency, they mean more how long it takes for something to happen. I will say the newest generation of Apple TV 4K seems to be noticeably faster than the last generation Apple TV 4K. Like when I'm browsing through the YouTube app and I click on a video on the last generation 4K Apple TV, it would take a few seconds for it to load the video and then play. On the new Apple TV 4K, dude, this shit's instant. It blew my mind. Alright, I see that debris in there. I'm not letting you ruin my life. Interesting. Okay, so it sounds like Mike and Mahir were talking about two different things. Mike is talking about what I typically think of delay, not latency, but I guess no, that technically it's the same thing. Yeah. Like I've seen this setting named audio latency setting in some places on some devices and not audio delay. Fuck, for all I know, it is labeled audio latency in the Apple TV settings. I don't even know anymore. Mahir, for latency, like what you seem to be describing, I would be suspicious of your Wi-Fi setup. Your Wi-Fi and your network, because one thing that people very often tend to overlook is, of course, their Wi-Fi. Because people get the idea that, well, my Wi-Fi works fine on my laptop or my iPhone or whatever, so it can't be my Wi-Fi that's causing issues with my HomePod. But you got to keep in mind, HomePods aren't just using pure internet traffic. They're not just reaching out to internet sources. They're doing a lot of communication between each other over your local area network. And that's going to put a lot of load. It's going to take a lot of airtime away from all of your Wi-Fi devices. So you need a decent Wi-Fi router. And especially when you're talking about using more than like 4 or 6 of these HomePods at a time, you really need to invest in a dedicated wireless router and not using or counting on the one that your internet provider gives you. Seriously, it's like the crappier my Wi-Fi was, the more latency issues and dropouts and crackling and Siri issues that I kept having, which when you say it like that, when you say it out loud, it's like, duh. But again, people tend to overlook it when everything else seems to work fine. It's like just because the radio, the power windows, the blinkers, the horn, the lights, the electronics, just because all that other stuff works in your car doesn't mean that there's no oil in it. It doesn't mean that there still isn't something wrong that's affecting some other system. No, I don't know if that's the best. I don't know if that's the best analogy. Oh yeah, no. If your issue is consistently with the audio not being in sync with the video, like it's 100% all the time not in sync, you need to go into your Apple TV settings and mess with the audio sync, the audio delay, audio offset. It's named something like that, and that should step you through like a workflow where it basically uses your iPhone to listen, your iPhone's microphone and camera to sync the audio from your Apple TV up to your actual TV. Pretty sweet. If your audio latency or your audio delay issues are intermittent, they're not happening all the time, but just on occasion or often, then I'm going to be more suspect of your Wi-Fi. All right. Let's see if it worked. There you have it. Folks, that is actually all that I'm going to fix here and now on this very live stream, at least. It's very hot. I'm gonna go take a shower before the wife and kid get home from their little trip. Maybe we'll be back later tonight to knock out these other two here. Let's see.
I'm having trouble connecting.
Very good.
I'm having trouble connecting.
All right. Well, until I see you guys in the next live stream repair, if you're looking for more info doing it yourself or reaching out to me for getting your repair started, check out the website, nixfix.com, and I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye!